Okay, remember that, everyone. I'm always here for you. I am not here to criticize. I am only here to help you succeed and try and get this work done and hopefully have fun doing it. Because I really try and make this interesting and also just pertinent to your life. That you guys are going to have a kitchen at some point. You're going to have to pick appliances. You're going to have to understand, what's driving your energy bill up. So I just feel like these are all really great skills uh, for us to be learning. Much less our transportation and stuff, but this is real world. This is I, you know, I bought my own house about 2 years ago, and I had to outfit my kitchen. And trust me, it was very difficult making those choices, trying to figure out, do I like this? Is it pretty? Is it going to work? Where do you put the counter? How far away from the stove do you want it? How big a refrigerator? All that good stuff. Okay, so most everyone is here. It is Tuesday, May 11th. Interims are approaching fast. I will probably be trying to do the grades tonight. If you have stuff that you desperately need to get me, just shoot me an email and let me know. I can accommodate a couple, individuals. I just need to get most everybody done. And most everybody's in good shape, okay? Again, this is an interim. It is not your real grade. This is an indicator of where your grade is, okay? So we are going to do we're going to do our warm up. We're going to have a presentation on intelligent systems and non-intelligent systems. Everyone loves systems thinking. We're going to work on our beautiful energy efficient custom kitchen competition. All right. I have received a couple great entrants already. What is due is your atmospheric and space transportation vocab and your beautiful energy efficient custom kitchen part 1. So that is the sheet that just has your 3 choices of appliances. That's what my friend Brian was talking about. It should be relatively easy. You just need to go to Home Depot or Lowe's, look up some appliances, and copy 3 of them in there. Okay. Ideally, if it's an Energy Star, give me the, what are the kilowatt hours for the year? I want to see energy efficiency in your presentations. I've seen some, but not that much. You'll see, we're going to look at some presentations today too, where in your slideshow, this is like our dream house that we did in the last semester. You can point to things and say things about them. That your cabinets are made out of recycled bamboo, that your flooring is made from recycled pillars from a factory. A lot of the things in your kitchen can be recycled to make your kitchen more eco-friendly, okay? Your kitchen does not have to have these things, but you need to describe them in your slideshow. So it just looks like a countertop, right? But instead of just being a countertop, you'll see in one video, it's a special eco-friendly countertop made out of recycled plates, mirrors, and broken bottles. That is, we're trying to make the most beautiful, energy efficient, kitchen. So those are things that you could add to make it more environmentally friendly. So what our homework is your beautiful energy efficient custom kitchen competition. We're going to keep working on this for another week. It'll be due the 18th, your slides. Intelligent systems and non-intelligent systems vocab. Hopefully we'll get through our definitions today, and those can be due on Friday. I hate doubling up my assignments if I can avoid it. So today's objective or goal is to evaluate intelligent and non-intelligent systems and learn about appliances, how much power they require, and how to make a beautiful, environmentally friendly kitchen design with the choices you have selected. Okay? let's go into our warm-up. All right, so the warm-up is right here in the module, right on top. I'm going to show you my newfound expertise. I can get this to present, I think, without you seeing my grades. Or no, seeing how to answer the questions. It's going to pop up and I'm going to hit preview before anybody can see anything. Haha, I did it. All right. We can answer these in the chat, or I can use my fabulous spinner. These are not that difficult. Where did we learn in the last class that Elon Musk wants to send people using SpaceX? Is it A, the moon, B, Mars, C, Venus, or D, Uranus? Or Uranus, for those who like to be a little more polite.
Mars.
Mars, brilliant. Barcode says Mars too. Why Mr. Musk decided that Mars is where we need to go is interesting. How many people, question 2, how many people does Elon Musk plan to send to this place by 2050? Is it 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, or 1 million?
1 million.
Yeah, you are right on. And since you're so wise in the ways of Elon Musk, how many years is it going to take him to send 1 million people to Mars? Do you remember that part?
I think he's gonna send like a little by little.
Right. It's 100 people per rocket, 3 rockets a day. And even if he shot 3 rockets a day, imagine 3 launches a day of that big a rocket, it would still take 9 years to get 1 million people to Mars. And my question is, great, you got 1 million people to Mars. Where are they hanging out? You know, is there some big city that you built on Mars already? It seems a little ill-conceived. But my line with Elon Musk, like people being wrong with the internet, I have seen him do the impossible. Seeing that rocket come back to Earth and land on a floating platform, I do not doubt that Elon Musk can do the things that he says he can do. You know what? I don't have anyone in my class, so you get to see me. All right, last one, and this is near and dear to my heart. True or false? Oh, hell, why is that 1 point? Fix this thing. Oh, I don't need that. Oh. Space chimps and space kitties are real. Is that true or false? Space chimps and space kitties are real.
Is that just like a real question?
That's a real question. It's in the lecture. Ah, Desi says true. Hang on, I'll show you. I swear. Where are they? Oh, it's not up here. It's got to be down in space travel, right? Where did our space monkeys?
Oh yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
Yeah, no, that there were monkeys, and I didn't know there were cats. I swear they sent up a dog. I'm sure they sent up mice. It's got to be the week before. Hang on, I'll fix this thing's little red wagon. Oh, look, this is probably, no, it can't be. Where were the kitties? Anyway, we've seen them and they do exist. Okay, so that's it for our warm-up. Something I did want to show everyone just before we get into all this to whet your imagination. So I should sanitize this because it's one of our students, but I just wanted to show you an example of a beautiful presentation, okay? So this is what our final should be looking like when we're done with our slideshow. It's got your design company, Natania's Kitchen Design, very pretty. I love the right angle touches to frame it. Got her name and a period. Then we get to see all of the appliances and learn about them, okay? So she has her refrigerator, We have the oven and it's an oven and a range. The dollar amount. The only thing I'm not getting that I kind of wanted was what the Energy Star number was. So see, this is an LG front dishwasher, 48 dB, so it's nice and quiet. A quiet dishwasher and a quiet vent are important. But she has the dollar amount. And notice how they're all with the same sort of cool smoky finish. So these are all Samsung. This is everything, it's 1,000 watts. So this is all great material. Look, there's a matching washer and dryer. Remember, that's important. Again, I'd love to see the kilowatt hours per year. It's right on the Energy Star. You just have to click it and you'll see it. But this is great because I know they are Energy Star. We're getting people who think class starts at 12:30. Remember, everyone, class starts at 12:20, not 12:30 these days. I admit that I forget too. Here's a really cool vent. All right, see, this is 600 cubic feet per minute. That's how much air the handler moves. That's what I got for mine over my stove. There is a relationship, just so you know, for how much air your vent needs to handle and how much heat your stove surface can generate. So that 600 cubic feet per minute can handle 60,000 BTUs. Okay, that's a lot. That's basically all your burners turned on that stove. The reason it needs to be so strong is so that you don't melt your fan, right? All right, here's an extra that she dropped in. So an extra would be the vent. She got herself a country kitchen or a farmhouse sink that's very cool with a nice faucet. And then here is her final slide. Look at this kitchen layout, really cool. Okay, see, there's the fridge, there's the microwave, all together. There's that sink with our island. Ideally, you've got the triangle of the fridge to the sink, to the stove, to the dishwasher. Not quite a triangle. So she says, to summarize, the total price of my energy efficient kitchen design is $10,013. My design should win the competition because it is the most energy efficient kitchen. My dishwasher, hood, and microwave all use LED lights, which are more energy efficient than incandescent or halogen lights. The microwave also has an eco mode. Lastly, the washer and dryer and dishwasher are all Energy Star rated items. Maybe you say appliances. This goes to show that my design is very eco-friendly and it looks amazing. So you don't have to settle for one or the other. I really like that pitch. I bought this kitchen. All right, so that is just an idea of what your final projects should be looking like. Okay?
I have a question.
Sure.
You have to have a picture like that showing like all the appliances in the same room.
Well, ideally, you're supposed to go to Lowe's or something and you can create this. Let me show, hang on, let me stop sharing for a moment and I'll show another. All right.
Wait, so she did it on Lowe's and they gave her that picture?
No, that is not from Lowe's.
So how did she get
I would, again, my vague feeling is that the kitchen has been reverse engineered from that picture. But if you're going to go to that effort, I am okay with it. All right. I think she found that picture first. But hang on. Let me just get one more assignment out here and I'll show you what is a little different presentation. Okay. I wish this one had more pictures, but it has great energy info. So again, there are trade-offs. What I'm looking for is a robust effort on your part. I understand that we have seniors and freshmen in this class. So I am not looking for the same quality from every student. What I'm looking for is that you try. You try and fulfill what's done, what I asked for, and you know that you do your best. That's all I can ask for. Okay? So hang on. Here we go. All right. So here's another one. From our friends at Stillerman Designs. Okay? So we've got our refrigerator. It costs $1.63 a day. Lowest costs and good reviews on the website. It's $594 a year. That is great information. Now, this is a crazy Beco Harvest Fresh fridge freezer. I am thinking, somehow we lost Daniel. Oh, he never was here. That this is the most energy efficient because this thing's made in England. So I can click on his link and it will take me to his link. Personally, I kind of like the other presentation. Hang on, where did my, oh, I know. Where did my PDF go? Oh, I know. Right. So in this one, he's giving me links, but I'm getting great energy information in these. I like seeing the item, the photo of it, and seeing some of the features, as opposed to just reading them off a website. But this all works. This is very efficient. I get to see everything I need and I can mouse around on the website. If I'm actually buying a product, that's probably more useful for me than just seeing it. So he lined everything up. And then at the end, here we go. Here's the design layout. So this is the Lowe's design layout thing. And this is part of why I'm talking about the idea that you can make up things about your, so he did not put in a lot of cabinets. You can put in all the cabinets, all the islands and things you want. I'm not charging you for that. Ideally, I want your piece to look a little more finished. I gave him full credit for this because I thought he did an excellent job and was very thorough. Ideally, I would like to see your floor plan a little more finished if you're going to use a presentation thing like this. It can also just be a 2D floor plan. It can just say where things are. But we're learning. We're learning how to use these things. It's not easy. But I thought this was a great job, a beautiful layout, and interesting choices. I think some of the issues might be things like, let's see. Now here's an interesting one. I hate to say, your kitchen island should not have a cost per year or per day. I don't think our kitchen island is electrified. So there's the island with the little things. You're going to be able to keep this for years and never pay another penny. Trust me. Okay. But let's see, did he get a matched washer and dryer? All right, so here's our Samsung washing machine. And then looks like, ooh, interesting. All right, so this is a little weird. I'm not dinging you for this because this is your learning. So this is a front-loading dryer, but his washer is a top loader. Typically, if you want to get a front loader, you're going to want the washer and dryer to be a front loader and the washer and dryer or to be a top loader. So I think what he was thinking was, gee, these are both Samsung products and they look about the same. So like I say, I am going to be very forgiving. I am looking for good effort on your part. Shepsu, you've always done a great job for me. So don't worry about this. Get me what you can. All right. All right, let's get back to what's important, not our presentation. We're going to get to that. Okay, let's get into our intelligent and non-intelligent systems. so we can get into our projects. So intelligent, oh, actually, I know what I want. Because it is Pacific Islander, it's Asian and Pacific Islander month, I wanted to show you guys a little. No, there's no check-in Thursday. Thursday is just Eid. Yeah, again, if you want to work at the end of class, like in the innovation period, we can do that, Shetsu. So hang on. So what I wanted to do before we get into anything, in honor of my Pacific Islanders, when I worked for the teaching company,
Mr. Swift, you're muted.
goodness, guys, you've got it. Ah, there. See, if I'd ever look up at the chat, it would help me, wouldn't it? Okay, let me go back about 16 pages. So it is Asian Pacific Islander month, and I just wanted to give us one fun thing for this. I work producing a series for the teaching company on the big history of civilization. I don't know if people understand the Pacific Islands were probably the last places on Earth to be populated, right? So this is a map of how the population of the Pacific Islands happened and the dates. My exciting question for you is, does anyone know what BP means? 3,500 BP, 3,000 BP, 730 BP, big arrow going to New Zealand. What does BP stand for? Anybody have an idea? Ooh, we get to, hang on. I have my fabulous spinner. Oh, come on. Anybody? What does BP mean? Before president? Big pylon? What do you think it is? Ah, Natalia, are you here? I think you are. Natalia Mahari. Can you tell me what you think BP means? I don't expect that you actually know it. Just give me a guess. I'll give you a hint that these are dates. Years before present. Brian Tejada Cornell, you are brilliant. Ah, and Desi got it too. Before present. It's a strange notation. You don't see it often. BCE is another weird one for BC. People don't like BC and AD because it is Christian. BC is before Christ. AD is Anno Domini, in the year of our Lord. So people have come up with less, politically fraught things. But look at this. 730 years ago is when New Zealand was populated. The Maori culture the big tattoos in New Zealand, those people have only been in New Zealand for 730 years. That is probably the newest community in the world. Okay, the reason for this, okay, so the way this worked, people came from Taiwan, they went from the mainland to Taiwan. From Taiwan, they made it to the Philippines. This is all about 3,500 years ago, Borneo, Sulawesi. Then they made it here. You'll see these different colors are different movements. Once they made it here, they stopped for about 200 years. Then they moved from, like Vanuatu to Samoa. And then, and again, it stopped for 2,000 years. Nobody was sailing between the islands for 2,000 years because they didn't need to. So, but then they made it here in 1200 to Samoa and the Society Islands. From here, they made it to Hawaii, they made it to Easter Island, and they made it to New Zealand. They didn't get to New Zealand until 500 years after making it to Hawaii and possibly after Easter Island. They're not sure about when they arrived at Easter Island. The reason that getting to New Zealand was so difficult was that it was upwind. If anyone knows how to sail, sailing upwind is very difficult. All right. I'm not going to play us. I have a story about the population of the islands, but if anyone's seen Moana, the Disney movie, it is actually fairly accurate about the wayfinders. The wayfinders are incredible people. These are people that barely exist today. I'm going to show us about 5 minutes of a story about the last of the modern wayfinders. This is the last person in his clan that attained the Po status of sailing and magic. And magic is navigation. The Pacific Islanders, the wayfinders, they could identify an island by the wave patterns. They could tell that an island was 500 miles that way, merely by the way the waves are coming in. Think about that trip to Hawaii. Okay? It's over 1,000 miles of open ocean to hit Hawaii. Hawaii is a teeny island. They don't have compasses. If they miss Hawaii, they're going to Alaska. Okay? 1,000 miles of open ocean. How did they know Hawaii was out there? How did they know how to get there? They just did. Let me show you. I just find this incredible, as a cultural treasure. All right. Internet seems a little rocky.
Here is Hawaii, an island, a man. Hawaii is a man, a child of Tahiti.
Hawaii, final landfall for Tahitian mariners who crossed the Pacific
more than 1,000 years ago. In 1976, a canoe set out from Hawaii to retrace the legendary voyaging route to Tahiti. The canoe is guided by one of the last keepers of an ancient art, Mau Piailag. The trip to Tahiti was very important for me. I know the people of Tahiti and Hawaii once navigated as we do. They didn't use instruments. They navigated by the stars and waves. I made the trip to show those people what their ancestors used to know and what we still know. Mau's home waters are in Micronesia, 2,000 miles to the west of Hawaii. Tiny islands are separated by vast ocean distances, and the people depend on navigators like Mau for survival. The navigators of Satawal are the last of a nation of sailors who once settled the entire Pacific.
Look at how small those boats are. Can you imagine sailing 1,000 miles for like 3 months, not knowing where you were
The Pacific
going?
Ocean, larger than all of the Earth's continents combined. When Europeans first glimpsed this immense sea, virtually all of its more than 10,000 islands had already been discovered by a more daring nation of seafarers. In the most remote islands of the Western Pacific, the secrets of navigation are still passed down from one generation to the next. Satawal is a tiny coral atoll, 1 mile square and barely 8 feet above sea level. Mau Piailag learned to navigate from his father and grandfather. Now it is Mau's turn to pass on his skills. At sunset, he teaches his nephew to recognize signs of weather in the sky and sea. The shapes and colors of the sky and the words of his teacher will one day guide Mau's nephew across the ocean. Our navigation is different from yours. I don't need a map or a sextant. I just use my head. I observe the ocean and the sky, and I remember the words of my teachers. There are two kinds of navigators. The man who only knows how to sail is called Palu. But the man who knows both sailing and magic is called Po. To become Po, you have to be initiated in a special ceremony. The Po ceremony has not been performed for more than 20 years. Mau was the last man on his island to be initiated into the secrets of both magic and navigation.
Okay.
The sea is the men's domain.
Oh, this is interesting.
The land on Satawal belongs to the women.
Did you hear that? That in their culture, the sea belongs to the men, but the land belongs to the women. So you see, like in a story like Moana, there's a lot about, they seem to have, kudos to Disney, they seem to have spent a lot of time trying to get the traditions and the culture correct. I just find the Wayfinders amazing. I am in awe of their skill and how in tune they must be with their surroundings and their planet. Okay. All right. So let's get into the business of the day, intelligent and non-intelligent systems. But I thought that was fun and a reason that you need to respect your Pacific Islanders. Using transportation to help us understand intelligent systems and non-intelligent systems. So our first definition, intelligent transport systems, or no, this actually, sorry, this is not the definition. Intelligent transport systems, ITS, are part of the national strategy for improving the operational safety, efficiency, and security of our nation's highways. I feel bad shifting from the ocean back to land, but it seemed like a beautiful way to wrap up transportation. Here's our definition, and I don't really like it. Intelligent systems can be defined as any technology system which applies emerging hard and soft information system technologies to address and alleviate problems, okay? So intelligent systems can be defined as any technology system which applies emerging hard, like hardware, and soft, software information system technologies to address and alleviate problems. They are using programs, computer programs, to alleviate problems. All right. You know, babies being born too early, national security monitoring, police. You know, these are different examples of intelligent and non-intelligent systems. Okay. Since the early 1990s, ITS has been the umbrella under which significant efforts have been conducted in research, development, testing, deployment, and integration of advanced technologies to improve the measures of effectiveness of our national highway network. Okay? These measures include the level of congestion, number of accidents and fatalities, delays, access to transportation, and fuel efficiency. So we want to improve all these things through our intelligent systems. A transportation future that includes ITS will involve significant improvement in these measures while remaining environmentally friendly and assuring the safety and security of the traveling public. Now, this is interesting that we're not building new systems. We are augmenting the systems that exist to make them more efficient and more environmentally friendly and assuring safety. An example of using advanced surveillance system. For example, using advanced surveillance systems, the early stages of a traffic bottleneck situation can be detected and traffic can be directed to the other routes to mitigate the congestion and to provide faster and more efficient routes of travel. So cameras help. So these are probably municipal cameras put up by, in our case, Montgomery County, but other things use them, like Waze has access to the info from these. Waze is telling you the best way to go. New technologies enable this type of surveillance and guidance response to occur in real time. The idea that you're getting the information as it happens, not 10 minutes later, and therefore to allow potential congestion situations to be addressed before they develop into serious traffic jams. ITS is a broad range of diverse technologies applied to transportation to make systems safer, more efficient, more reliable, and more environmentally friendly, without necessarily having to physically alter existing structures. So you're not going to have to rip everything out to do this. The range of technologies involved includes sensor and control technologies, probably to tell how many cars are going and how fast they're going. Communications, they're like big signs, and computer informatics. Now those are, computer-driven messaging. The range of technologies involved cuts across disciplines such as transportation, engineering, telecommunications, computer science, finance, electronic commerce, and automobile manufacturing. Okay? So those are intelligent transportation systems. There are intelligent and non-intelligent transportation systems that depend on many processes and innovative techniques. So the road crossing push button. It is not an intelligent system. It is, you are just pushing the button and that is telling it has a pedestrian, I should get the walk signal up. It is not interpreting your button pushes. Or I believe, like me, when I push it 10 times, it is not bringing up the signal quicker. For example, the development of an intelligent transportation system, smart highways with electronic message boards, for instance, require the use of coordinated subsystems to determine capacity of lanes, traffic flow, and potential congestion problems. All right. Think about I-66. I don't know if you've driven on it, but there are a lot of electronic signs. It looks just like this, these big old hunker things. I do not like them. I do not need giant electronic signs cluttering up the countryside. Oh, look, this is in LA because it's the 101. Ride share info, road conditions, dial 511. They are giving the drivers more information to use on the road. Those are smart transportation systems. They are communicating with you. Non-intelligent systems can be defined as any technological or natural system that does not utilize any computer or high-tech devices to create involuntary changes in what it does. Like an escalator. An escalator runs, it doesn't change when you get on it or get off it. It just runs. I swear, I think that's at Dulles Airport. All right. So a mailbox with an address flag up. It's not an intelligent system. I put the flag up, but it is sending a message. Wind turbines waiting for wind. I'm not sure what that means. Temperature, doing its temperature thing. This is the idea that, water is a transportation network, but it's a natural system. You can't control it. If there's a flood, it's going to flood. Okay, and that is it for today. So we have about 20 minutes left. Let's get into our projects. Okay, I have a couple of things I wanted to show so you can start working on your project. What we're working on now is part 2. So it's the slideshow. If you haven't done part 1, you just need to take your sheet. So down here, not the final slide presentation, but this is the first one. I should put this in the titles. So this is your initial one. All you're doing here is finding appliances and filling them in. Okay. Now, of course, I filled this in and I didn't realize I didn't make a copy. That was silly of me. seem to have caused some real trouble. What do we think about the steam feature on washing machines? I'm unconvinced. I'm sorry I populated this and I didn't think that I needed to make a copy. You'd think I'd know better. So all you're doing is just filling in like what was in there. Any additional touches? I just need 3 appliances for each one, and that's 30 points. Let's call this 1.
I'm confused. You said 3 appliances for each one?
Yes, Shepser.
Each what? Like each column?
There's columns. Here.
I see 4 rows.
You've got right up top, option 1, option 2, option 3.
Oh, best option. Okay.
So you're just doing 3 different refrigerator freezers,
All right.
3 different stoves, 3 different dishwashers, 3 different microwaves, washer and dryer.
What would you recommend? Which site to like look at best? Besides, like my first thought would be IKEA, but
Yeah, IKEA is great. IKEA is not so much appliances though. Home Depot, again, you can just search the internet for appliances. So let's say I'm looking for Star dishwasher. Let's see what it says. So in theory, these are all Energy Star dishwashers. I doubt it. I'm looking for the Energy Star thing on the left here. There it is. Okay. So if I click this, all I get are Energy Stars.
okay. Thank you.
And then it's just a matter of picking whatever you like. What looks good to you? And once you know that they're Energy Star, then you can. Yeah. For some reason, the internet's very cranky. All right. So if I look at the Bosch, see 50 dBA. That's louder than that other one. Somewhere in here, it should tell me, of course it's not, what its Energy Star is. Don't want a Home Depot card. Product overview. See, these are where you can get ideas to put in your write-up. Energy Star. That's what I want. Okay, so this one uses 269 kilowatt hours a year, estimated to cost you 25 bucks. Well, it's kind of interesting that it says it's going to estimated at yearly energy cost is $33, but it's 25 here. Hey, I like my numbers to match up. But that's where you can get the energy figures easily. Okay, I did want to just show 2 little videos. The first one doesn't have any audio, so it's These are just ideas for your write-ups of aspects of your kitchen. You can just have regular cabinets, but you can say that they are recycled or that they are made out of, you know, bamboo, organically harvested bamboo. This is just going to give you some ideas for language to talk about your kitchen. Induction cooktops are the most energy efficient. I don't like them though for cooking. Remember water conservation. And again, this one is a LEED certified kitchen. It's just going to be some ideas on ways you can describe things in your kitchen.
Hi, Mike Reynolds here from Eco Home, and we're in the Edelweiss demonstration house that we built a few years ago. This is Canada's first LEED V4 Platinum house. And if you haven't seen it, check out our YouTube channel, hit subscribe. We have videos of the whole place, start to finish, from the slab all the way to the ceiling and all the different stages of the finishing. What we didn't do at the time, and we've had a few requests for, is sort of an overall video of various different components. So we're doing kitchens. So if you're doing kitchen construction or renovations, we're just going to show you a few things that we did here to give you ideas to think about. First of all, the counter. This is a sort of like a quartz countertop.
Okay.
But it is made of...
Technically, we have the next 10 minutes off, and we'll start up with innovation period. I'll just let this finish.
So it ends up being an incredibly durable part. It looks as good as the day we put it in. Long countertops was the focal point of the house. EDAP cabinet all the way down. Also has an undermount sink. I like these a lot because you don't get all that junk stuck on the edge of a sink, so you can sweep stuff into it fairly easy. Kitchen tap. This beautiful looking tap is also a water efficient tap. Well, two things: you want it to look good and work well. So we like this one a lot. It is more water efficient, which people don't always think a lot about in the kitchen. But do a lot of rinsing and stuff, it actually will make a difference. There's an overall water conservation strategy in the house, and that sort of part of it. So there you go, we got that. The cabinets, these are basically reclaimed wooden, solid wood doors. And then the actual cabinetry on the inside, this is not particle board. This is plywood. It's a formaldehyde-free UV treated plywood. So it helps safeguard the air quality in the house on one hand, but also it's stronger for the fixtures. So it's a lot stronger than the particle board. Got that. What else we have? Sofas. Exhausting particulate from kitchen at the source. Really important. This stove hood vents at, it does not blow back in your face through a carbon filter. Those do work a little bit, but it will clog up, and then you're just blowing humidity right into your face, so they don't do much at all eventually. So it's better to exhaust the moisture and particulate out of your house. And as well, when you're shopping for stove hoods, pay attention to the decibel rating on the stove hood. This is a very quiet one. Listen, can you hear it? Okay, it's not working. But if you have a loud stove hood, it's going to drive you nuts. You're going to want to turn it off more. So pay attention to it and get a good quality one. All the appliances are Energy Star. All the lights are LED. That's about it. So that's a look back at this kitchen.
All right. So we'll start innovation in 8 minutes. Oops. Okay. Okay, hang on, I was just trying to figure out, that's what my problem is. Okay. All righty. Here we go into fabulous innovation period. Just to finish up, I'm hoping my friend Brian Tejada is still here. When I say I can't get to your work, what I mean is you have not changed the link on it so that it is open for everyone. It's still restricted. When I click this, it says I need access, request access. All that means is the idea that when you do the sharing settings, when you click share, you have to change the settings. Originally, it is restricted. Only I can open this right now. I click on it, and you click on this little down arrow, and I can make it Montgomery Public Schools. Usually, you can make it anyone. I make it anyone myself. Then copy the link and give that to me. Then I can open the link. If it is restricted, I can't open your link, okay? So that's my little message. Okay? All right, so now we have our fabulous innovation slides. Where have I put them, of course? No, no. That's, I'm guessing here. No, no. It's like concentration. I know one of these is my right slideshow. I've got a lot of slideshows open, don't I? Oh, no, not that one. You don't need the AP exams. Here's what we want. Sorry about that. You get to see how I play concentration with my tabs. So today is Tuesday, May 11th. We'll watch our info flow. With any luck, there is one in there. We're going to participate in a mindfulness minute. You guys get to vote for your SGA and class officers. Then we're going to elevate and center Asian American and Pacific Islander student experiences. Oh, good thing we started out. All right, let's see what we have in info flow. How interesting. May 7th was not there last time. All right, here we are. Let's go to YouTube. I think it's a little better. Yes, my internet is not as robust.
I resubmitted it. I did it.
Good afternoon, Blazers, and welcome back to InfoFlow from Home. Today is Tuesday, May 11th. I'm Sky.
And I'm Nolan. In local news, Montgomery County surpassed 70,089 cases of COVID-19 as of Friday, May 7th. According to the Maryland Department of Health, just over 39% of county residents have been fully vaccinated against COVID-19, while 54.
More vaccine.
Okay, I'm going to use my incredible film judgment here and just stop it and restart it because I think the issue was buffering, either that or they really had issues with this broadcast. As you'll see, he was not in sync.
Of county residents have been fully vaccinated against COVID-19,
There.
while 54% have received at least one dose.
In more vaccine news, Pfizer-BioNTech initiated its application to gain full FDA approval for the vaccine on Friday. The vaccine is currently being used under Emergency Use Authorization, EUA, which is a special authorization given to medical products in times of need that have adequate manufacturing information to ensure quality and promise to work to full FDA approval.
The Montgomery County Council has agreed to spend $500,000 to fund a new biodefense center that would specialize in pandemic prevention. The project is headed by the Connected DMV, a nonprofit that focuses on initiatives with the government, private industry, academia, and community partners. Phase 1 of the project is estimated to cost $2 billion.
A tense hostage situation at the Wells Fargo Bank in Minnesota ended peacefully Thursday night, 8 hours after a disgruntled customer began holding bank employees within the branch. The last hostage made a run for it and escaped. Heavily armed police immediately entered the building and arrested the suspect. It is unclear whether or not he was armed, and charging decisions are yet to be made.
The rocket that was launched into orbit from China on April 29th and was left to unpredictably fall back to Earth has been dragged back by Earth's gravity. Most of the Long March 5B rocket burned up upon re-entry, but the rest of the debris landed somewhere in the Indian Ocean.
The Without Borders Sin Fronteras Club will be having an informational meeting on Wednesday, May 19th at 3:30 on Zoom. Everyone is welcome. Join the Zoom with the info below. For more information, please email Ms. Young at the email below.
The senior parent meeting on May 6th covered Senior Celebration Day, graduation rehearsal and ceremony details, and more. Check Blair's website for the meeting recording and slides.
Blair's summer program registration is now open. For information on all of the original credit, credit recovery, credit extension, enrichment, and college readiness programs, go to the link below. Deadline to register is June 4th.
That's all for today's show. Check out our website at bnconline.net to submit any announcements. And follow us on Instagram at bnc_Blair and on Twitter at bncblair. We'll be back on Tuesday with the latest edition of InfoFlow from Home. Remember to wash your hands, avoid touching your face, and follow social distancing guidelines. Have a fantastic Friday and stay safe, Blazers.
Very nice. Good show. I'll give you my broadcast moment.
That's all for
Enrichment and college readiness.
So again, you always want to try and keep that eye line to the audience. But what I was going to show you is just the lighting. See how pretty her lighting is. Her lighting really lights her. It's very straight on, so you're not getting much shadow. You get a little bit of a shadow here. But the only thing that you need, and this is a crazy thing in the world of film, is a little powder. The ladies' powder room was invented to take shine off you. One of the problems of sweat with a camera and lights is it reflects. So in here, and here, particularly the tip of your nose, you just need a little non-comedogenic powder, which is totally clear, but takes that shine off you. All right. That's your tip for the day. All right, let's go to our mindfulness minute. Let's see. Wow. All right, this is a pretty simple and straightforward mindfulness minute. I don't know if anyone's into palm reading, but I always like palm reading. You have your lifeline, your love line, like your children's line. But what they're saying is look at one of your palms, right? Slowly trace the lines. Pretend they're connected and trace backwards. I'm going to come up here. Just explore the lines of your hand. Remember when we did the outline of our hand? How many big lines do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got about 7 big lines. Apparently, if you make your fists like this and you count the bumps, that's how many kids you'll have. All right, I'm not feeling particularly calmed by tracing my hand. Look at the back of your hand and trace that. We always say you know things like the back of your hand. You'd be surprised what's on the back of your hand. We really don't look at the backs of our hands. All right, well, let's move along. Okay, so it's 1:39 now. Let's say at 1:50, we'll come back and we'll look at the next thing. In theory, you are supposed to use your phone. If you use your phone with a camera, it will capture this QR code and link you to something. Otherwise, let me put this in the chat, or let me see if I can put it in the chat. This is the link for your voting form. It has the candidates and everything on it. Where is our chat? Where is our chat? Perfect. Thank you, Brian. Okay, that is the link to student voting. Okay, so if you click that link, that should take you to the form to do your student voting. Let me show you what it's going to look like. Just like this. Please vote for your SGA officers and class officers for your class. Seniors are not permitted to vote. Students may only vote one time. So SGA president. These are your candidates. Yao. Claire has a pretty wild last name. Ahun Hoja, as far as I can tell. Salma Chicas, Nora Fen Gilman, Anurag Tripathi, so there are your three, there are your 4 candidates. Which photo do you want to click on? Is it Claire? Is it Salma? Is it Anurag? Or is it Nora? Next, for the SGA Vice President, Sakini Adhikari, Alice O'Neill Freeman. Nice picture, Sakini. And then you got your 2021 SGA and class officer election. You need to choose your year. Let's say I'm a freshman. Okay, these are your candidates, Camilla Sorensen or Hasit Wandam. Look, there's one of my students, Layla. Vote for Layla. Class of 2024, Vice President. We'll read hers since I'm bored. For Layla Burej. Although these last couple months have been difficult with the class of 2024 being split between in-person teaching and online, it is my goal to bring people together. Great idea. We need to prioritize bridging the gap between students to the school and student to the staff, and most importantly, students to their peers. With our next president and my leadership, we as a class can start advocating for better school-wide communication, further accessibility uh, to out-of-school programs and SSL opportunities and make new memories with fun and immersive student-led events and spirit weeks. With your input, we can make our ideas and goals more specific and student-focused. As your class vice president, I will be there for you to make sure that your next 3 years at Blair make up for the one we missed. I like that sentiment. Sophia Crandall is another. So there's Layla and there's Sophia. And that's it. I'm going to stop looking and I'm going to look at Brian's thing. There we are. Okay, while you're finishing up your election stuff, I'll start reading over this. There's a lot in this week's. So purpose and outcomes. The next thing we're going to be doing is looking at Asian and Pacific Islander communities. What are we going to accomplish? Our objective is to examine different Asian American Pacific Islander communities, I'm guessing that's AAPI, experiences through reflecting upon and centering MCPS AAPI student experiences presented during the recent April 29th Asian American Student Voice Forum, hosted by the Equity Initiatives Unit. Okay, a desired outcome is that by the conclusion of these May 11th and 14th sessions, we will have analyzed common AAPI student experiences, challenges, and triumphs, including the model minority myth, increased representation, etc., completed a school climate exit survey, and reflected on ways to practice allyship through participating in the ADL No Place for Hate Day. Disclaimer, MBHS faculty, students, and alumni have contributed to the content of these lessons. So they are not independent, these are from your schoolmates. All right, we're at 150. All right, fighting invisibility, dismantling stereotypes, analyzing the model minority myth. As you watch the clip from the musical artist Matt R. Matt R. Fact. That's like Will I Am. Reflect on the points you agree or disagree with. How might some of these themes be relevant to Blair? Okay. So there are things in here that you might agree with, you may disagree with. I think like a lot of our equity topics, some of these topics are difficult. Some people feel that you're being pointed out as the person that's the problem. Some people don't like being pointed out as a person that is oppressed. These conversations can make us uncomfortable, but ideally they help us to understand each other. So they are really important. What's important is trying to put yourself in your friend's shoes. Try and imagine what it's like to be someone else other than you and how you're treated by other people around you, okay?
So you think all Asians are the same, doctors and engineers at the top of our game. Hardworking and polite and accepted like we're white, only differences are funny foreign names. There's a reason why you see us with this perception as an eminent racial monolith. But now it's time to be schooled to the truth, don't be fooled by the model minority myth. What if I told you these stereotypes about Asians are not always true? That we're not all triumphantly lifting ourselves up by only the straps of our boots? That the notion that we're all the same and successful is based on some sinister roots, and in truth it's a justification of racist beliefs about other minority groups. Maybe the model minority now, but it was not always this way. We gotta be sure to remember how we used to be seen back in the day, and how we also at our time near the bottom of the barrel as invaders from the Orient, the terribly old peril. We were faceless and nameless and jaundiced and filthy and nebulous horde. The menace from the east coming to infiltrate America. Pretty soon democracy, if you're not gonna have its door, arriving by the boatload, coming to take the jobs away from all of the white and American born. Pretty soon these fears coalescing culminated in an anti-Asian sentiment that was the reason for anti-Chinese violence, lynchings, and riots. From Wyoming down to LA, and entire neighborhoods of Asian immigrants destroyed and burned along the way. This led to the Chinese Exclusion Act, passed in 1882, not only keeping immigrants from coming, but also barring Chinese residents from ever being citizens too. Followed by the Immigration Acts of 1917, and then the one in 1924, whose objective was to codify the anti-Asian xenophobia by slamming shut America's door, by barring basically all immigration from Asia, from the Middle East all the way to Japan. Up until that point in U.S. history, it was the most far-reaching and extreme immigration ban, keeping America Christian and white and homogenous. That was the overall plan. Shouldn't come as any surprise that these acts were supported by none other than the Ku Klux Klan. Fast forward to World War II. In the East and ascendant Japan, the U.S. was like,
hey guys, maybe we should come up with some sort of plan or something. Maybe we master to China so they can be an ally containing Japan. And just to be safe, we should take all Japanese Americans and just lock them up in internment camps.
meaning that the Chinese were considered a little bit better than before. No longer just opium traders. But the Japanese now, on the other hand, who knows? They could all be spies or traitors. No time for due process or fairness. That'd be careless given the threat. Better lock them up and take away their property quick, not to
doing it fast enough could be a regret. But after the war, though, turns out those Japanese weren't really spies, though. The U.S. was like,
Wait a minute. Oh, I swear we thought that they were spies. We didn't know. But we can't return their property or stuff, though. Because that would be too complicated. And it was during a war, so it was national security at stake, so it was justified. So, sorry, that's just how it goes.
but now public perception was changing and stereotypes rearranging. And over the next couple decades were Asian Americans somehow exchanging their reputation as just another minority group, and for some a little bit different instead. An Immigration Act in 1965 had a lot to do with moving this change ahead by changing all the laws about who could be let in from Asia, prioritizing certain people too, especially professionals and educated scientists who became the majority of those getting through. And since they were the only ones getting admitted and all the way through to the end, Americans started assuming all Asians in general were smart and successful like them. This was the context for the model minority myth to emerge for the very first time in an article written by a famous white sociologist who wanted to explain how Japanese Americans had overcome discrimination using only grit. He wanted to prove hard work and attitude and optimism and determination were the keys to making it. It was 1966, just a couple of years after the Civil Rights Act, right at the height of the Civil Rights Movement. That was no coincidence, and that's a fact. Because although the myth seemed to be all about Asians, it was aimed at folks who were black, but arguing the traits responsible for Asian success were ones black people simply just lacked. The U.S. was like,
So it goes to show those other minorities have themselves to blame. Because if the Asians have been able to pull themselves up by the bootstraps, could those other minorities do the same? I mean, let's prove then definitively it's not at all like what the civil rights people like to claim about there being some systemic structural racial oppression. No, some people are just too lazy to play the game.
the myth proliferated out into culture, society, and beyond. The problem, though, is that it was fundamentally flawed and completely and categorically wrong. And debunking it and breaking it down is the point and the purpose of this whole entire song. So listen up now to this last part. Do your best now to follow along. The first flaw is assuming all Asian Americans are just one big homogenous group, when in reality the diaspora is diverse and huge. This assumption couldn't be further from the truth. And for each individual nationality, ethnicity, or any other separating group, there's a different history of immigration, needing a full spectrum of outcome and income levels too. But by focusing on only certain groups that have been able to find their way to American success, the myth just ignores the majority of the Asian minority. It denies the existence of the rest, like all of those who didn't come in the stereotypical way to get a degree, but rather flee war as a refugee. Many have much lower incomes, but higher rates of homelessness, poverty, and preventable disease. But the biggest flaw is assuming discrimination experienced by distinct minority groups is all the same, when as a matter of fact, whether one's Asian or black, discrimination is only the same in name. I mean, just think about it, see how it's different. Beginning with how these people to this country even came, you really think that it's comparable? Coming here as an immigrant as opposed to being brought in voluntarily as a slave? Yeah, Asians have had to face a lot of prejudice and racism along the way, from xenophobic immigration acts and trauma camps to hate crimes. Take a look at the COVID-19 attacks today. But don't forget the logical fallacies of false equivalence, thinking that these are all just simply just the same as the legacy of hundreds of years of slavery and the scars of which persist in our society today. By attributing success or failure to cultural values or racial identities, the myth equivocates, prevaricates, and obfuscates the root causes of inequities in an attempt to absolve the establishment in order to preclude any difficult change and to try to drive a wedge between us minorities so we don't try to question invidious claims. We gotta see the myth for what it is, a lie designed to divide and conquer by separating us in the hopes that we'll miss the truth that we're on the same side. Just like Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker in the Rush Hour movies when they fighting together. There'll be nothing in this world that can stop us in our struggle if we come together to fight to make it better.
Wow.
So you think all Asians...
Okay. That's the best thing I've seen in innovation. What do you guys think about that? Anybody have any opinions? Did you like our rapper? It was great. I enjoyed it myself, but boy, does he open some doors for you? Does he answer some questions, but create more? First off, there's a couple things. One, Asians and Black people have had an incredibly difficult time. But the thing that kills me is the American Indians have a lot bigger gripe than anyone. And I never hear, hardly ever hear from the American Indian population. I went to Colorado College. We had the Chiefs program. It's a program to promote local tribes and higher education in the tribes. The story of the American Indian. I mean, you just heard the story of the Japanese American. The myth, just to set it straight, the myth of the model minority, the reason that that is so insidious is that, for one, as he was saying, the only Asians that were allowed to immigrate to the US at that point in time, you know, similar to Mr. Trump's desire, were typically doctors, PhDs, college professors, those kinds of things. So the idea that the highest 10% of your population, when they come to America, are probably going to be successful is pretty much a given. But that is not how people perceived it. People perceived it that this was any Asian American Pacific Islander. That if Asian American Pacific Islanders could be so successful, why couldn't Black people? If you want to go back in time, why couldn't the Irish? Why couldn't the Italians? Our racism and anger towards other people who might take our slice of the pie does not only extend to people of different colors than we are. Trust me, when the Irish potato famine happened and so many Irish were coming to the US, the Irish were considered the worst of the worst and not to be accepted. That seems very difficult to understand today. When they talk about the internment of the Japanese people, that is one of the darkest and most tragic times in US history. If you ever watch a movie about it, these are normal American citizens. These are some of the best citizens we have. And they had everything taken from them. Everything. Their property, they were forced to sell. They had to move to internment camps. Can you imagine explaining this to your child? It's really hard. One of the stories I want to tell you is a story called, it's a video actually that I saw about the Inouye warriors. Daniel Inouye was the senator from Hawaii. I shouldn't tell this story because it gets me emotional again. So when the Japanese were interned, some of their children were determined to show what good US citizens they were. I'm sorry. Let me get in a better frame of mind. So some of the children decided to show how good a US citizen they were. Some of them wanted to fight the US with everything they had, and they deserved that feeling. The others volunteered for the military. The Inouye soldiers were chosen for a suicide mission. There was a troop that was caught behind enemy lines. I think they were from Texas. They were gonna get captured and die. Somebody had to try and get them. This is similar to the Tuskegee Airmen, who felt that they had to show what their grit was, who they were as Americans. So these soldiers volunteered for the suicide mission, and they overcame. They got the soldiers back, they saved them, they were celebrated, they had medals. I wanted you to know, the father of one of those soldiers who died in the process was not allowed US citizenship because he was Japanese. His son had died for this country. I tell you, when it comes to being mean, bigoted, we as Americans seem to be pretty good at it. As you can hear from all those different acts, this is not a new story. This is an evolving story. about people who are learning how to respect each other. There are still a lot of people in this country who do not want to respect you, who do not feel that you may be worth their time. Don't worry about those. Live your life. Be a good person. Do what's right. That will get you respect. Now, the story of the Inouye soldiers, it is one of the most touching, heroic things ever. I'll try and find a link to it. It's a documentary. I'm pretty sure it's a PBS documentary called The Inouye Soldiers. But for the indignities that were mounted on these people, to join the army, fight for your country that has imprisoned your parents, and overcome, that's pretty powerful. All right, let's see what else we have in here. Again, I apologize. This makes me so upset. No, I don't want to be watching this again. What just happened?
So you think all Asians are the same, doctors and engineers at the top of our game.
Oh,
Hardworking
come
and polite and accepted like we're white. Only differences are funny for our names. These are the same reason why you see us at the top of our game. Eminent racial monolith. But now it's time to be schooled to the truth. Don't be fooled by the model minority.
There it is. Sorry.
What if I told you?
Yep, now I got rid of my slides, I think. Whoops. Hang on. Sorry to be sharing. I don't think there's anything in here too dramatic. All right, so let's see. Come on. We've done our voting. We've listened to our, we've done that. We've listened to our rapper. I think we have one more. Elevating and learning from student voices. Okay. As you listen to comments from MCPS students, what do you hear that corroborates, i.e. supports or agrees with musical artist Matt R. Fack's video? What other themes stick out to you? Oh, good Lord, running time 26 minutes?
Welcome, everyone. Tonight, we have a very special night. We're going to be starting in just a few moments, so enjoy some music that we're going to be playing, and we will begin just shortly.
Okay.
I also serve as one of the co-presidents.
Understand the vast diversity of our Asian American backgrounds and experiences in Montgomery County. And the second goal is that MCPS staff start to understand that the stereotypes and hate that we currently see in the news is not new, and MCPS is not immune to these experiences. So today, I welcome you to our conversation, to an intimate gathering of our students, and I'm going to turn it over to, again, my amazing co-facilitator, Amy Shah.
Hi, everyone. I'm really glad to see all of you here. As Maria said, my name is Amy Jai. I'm currently a senior at Richard Montgomery High School. I also serve as one of the co-presidents and co-founders of the Asian American Progressive Student Union, which is a group of Asian American students in MCPS who are dedicated to Asian American civil rights issues and racial justice. So again, we're really glad to have you all here. Even after being in MCPS for pretty much my entire K through 12 career, I feel like opportunities like these were rare, and opportunities were rare to see Asian American identity explicitly affirmed by the county as well. So I'm really glad that even with everything going on, you can all take the time out of your busy schedules to come listen to our conversation today. So with that said, I would like to introduce our wonderful panelists who are available today from a variety of MCPS schools. So if everyone could just go around and share their name, school, grade, and ethnic background, that would be excellent. So I guess, well, I'm Amy Jai, senior, Richard Montgomery High School. I'm Chinese American, and then I'll pass it off to Hira.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm very grateful that you're all here. My name is Hira. I am a Poolsville high schooler. I'm in 10th grade, and I am Indian. I'll pass it on to Anna.
Hello, everyone. I'm Anna Sray. I'm a freshman at Poolsville High School, and I'm Cambodian Chinese American. I'll pass it on to Jill.
Hello everyone, my name is Jill, and I'm in 8th grade from White Oak Middle School, and I'm Filipino Chinese with Spanish background. I'll pass it on to Ilani.
Hi everybody, thank you all for being here. My name is Ilani Bui and I'm an 8th grader at Martin Luther King Middle School. I come from Chinese and Vietnamese descent. I'll pass it on to Noah.
Hi everybody, I'm Noah Kadir. I'm a freshman at Clarksburg High School and I'm Indonesian. I'll pass it to Peter.
Hi, my name is Peter and I'm a 9th grader at Northwest High School. My ethnicity is Korean. I'll pass it to Alana.
Hi everyone, my name is Alana and I am a junior at James Hubert Blake High School. I am Irish and Filipino and I'm of Hispanic origin.
Okay.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for coming. I'm Pranavi and I'm a freshman at Seneca Valley and I'm Indian.
All right, thank you all for your introductions. So before we get started with our first question, we actually have one of our panelists available to share a poem that she wrote about her experience as an Asian American. So I'll turn it over to Ilani to share the poem.
Hi everybody, I'm Ilani again, and my poem is called I Am. I am from the Chinese virus and being attacked without reason. I am from slurs and insults hurled at me across the room. I am from stereotypes and ignorance, from cutting-edge remarks they call jokes, from excuses and my accomplishments being diminished by my race. I am from Lunar New Year and staying up late to help my mom bake pastel. I am from immigration and changing my first name. I want to be in a community that's not divided by skin color, in a community that acknowledges our race, but doesn't use it against us. I want to be proud of who I am. I am Asian American.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that really powerful poem that you wrote about your identity as an Asian American and feeling proud of your identity, which I hope our other panelists can share. So as our first question for you all today, I was hoping that all of our panelists could share a bit more about what it means to them to be Asian American Pacific Islander, and if possible, what it means specifically to be a member of your particular background as well.
Yes, I would love to answer that. I think being an Asian American specifically, it means a lot of responsibility to me. Like my parents being immigrants, they sacrificed a lot to come here, and I have the responsibility to succeed, to make their sacrifices worth it. And I also just have multiple other responsibilities under being Asian, like the model minority myth teaches us that we have to succeed. So I also feel the responsibility to succeed because of that. And my friends who think I'm smart, I feel like I have the responsibility to be smart, to keep up their expectations of me. And also sometimes my friends of different races will ask me about my experiences and ask me what they can do to help in this kind of climate. And I feel responsible to have to like answer and explain and talk for my race. So I think there's a lot of responsibility that comes with being an Asian American.
Yeah.
How about that? How about the idea that there's a lot of responsibility that comes along with just being who you are? Do you guys feel that? I guess, as an elder white man, let's say, coming from privilege, I don't feel that. I just feel like I have to be me. So hearing someone saying that I have to be a model person, I have to be smart, I have to make my parents proud of me. That's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure on a kid.
I can add on by saying that being Asian American to me is being completely diverse into completely different cultures. And this also kind of adds on to the fact that I try to stay connected to my roots, values, traditions, and just like festivals.
Yeah, I second that. I mean, being Asian American, but also being mixed and being a little bit white, it's always been really confusing for me because I heavily identify with my European roots because that's my family that live up here. But on one hand, when my grandma pulls out her lechon, which is a roasted pork, and my Filipino family comes, I'm very excited about that. So it's really a nice mix of both of them, but it is hard to feel one way and understand my heritage, but look another way.
So interesting.
For me, being Asian American, part of the Asian American Pacific Islander community is to be accepting of all of the different communities, backgrounds, and all of the different traditions and events that they can provide to us, such as in my community where they hold bazaars which have many different performances and many different foods. So.
To me, being Asian American means being a little bit of both. It means celebrating both Thanksgiving and Cambodian New Year, and speaking broken Khmer with my grandparents and American slang with my friends. When I was younger, I really used to feel like I was not Asian or American enough, but I've grown to realize and embrace the fact that I can be both.
I have to agree with that. I feel like a lot of times I'm almost in a gray area of too American or too Asian. And it's really confusing trying to balance the both, because when I'm Asian, I feel like an outsider. I don't feel as connected with my family and with everybody around me. But when I'm too American, I feel like I'm betraying my Asian heritage.
Yes, I can feel what both of you guys just said. And like, I visited Korea or had a friend from Korea. Like, I think I kind of had trouble getting along because like I'm not like really, my actions or my like mindset is not really like 100% Korean. I don't really like, I don't think I like really act too Korean or maybe too American. So like, yeah, I think we're like, since we're like Asian Americans, I think we're just in the middle, like kind of like we don't really know what to do.
Okay, I work for the student reporting labs at NewsHour. And what these kids are saying is not just an issue for Asian Americans or Pacific Islanders. Not knowing who you are, not knowing what you should be doing, having too many people with too many expectations of who you are that have nothing to do with you inside. What's really important here is to be happy with yourself, to know that you are a good person, that you care about other people, that you stop and help someone who dropped something, that you hug your mom, that you do random acts of kindness. These are things that help us center ourselves in knowing that we are a good person. I am a good person. I don't know what you think of me, but you don't know me because I am a good person. So I know in adolescence, it's very difficult because you're not sure who you are. Who am I going to be when I grow up? Who am I going to be when I get to the ball? I don't know. Am I going to be a doctor? Am I going to be a bus driver? Am I going to be a teacher? Am I going to be a physicist? It's very confusing when you're young. So let's listen to a little more and then we'll wrap up for the day.
Personally, being Asian American, I struggle a lot trying to belong within a community because I'm not exactly American. I'm first generation immigrant. So I have this pressure of trying to fit in, but at the same time, stay true with my Asian heritage.
Yeah, I definitely agree as well because I'm an immigrant, and it's like kind of like that battle between trying to like satisfy your parents as well as fit in with your friends at school.
Thank you. All of you lift up, first of all, so much diversity in this space of experiences, but then also kind of these commonalities you have. You shared a lot about responsibility and struggle of living between two worlds. When you connect that to school, what is that like in terms of, or do you think that the people at school, your teachers, your peers, understand that part of you?
I can start and say that for the most part, my teachers have never understood what I really am. They often try to talk to me in Spanish, which I don't speak at my house at all. Or they'll say like santos and stuff like that. I once had a teacher send home a letter in Spanish that she had handwritten to my mom, and my mom speaks English, so it was kind of a little bit odd. And I understand that she was trying to be helpful, but on one hand, if she had just asked, I would have told her that I heavily identify with being Filipino and Irish. My dad speaks Tagalog, if that helps, but I don't think that people understand that there are other races out there and that there are other backgrounds that people do have. If you have a Hispanic sounding last name or you just look a little bit brown, people tend to think that you're Mexican or any Hispanic or background, which is evidently not true.
Thank you.
So just to comment on that one, in a world where everyone is a tile with a name and a voice, it has been very difficult to figure out who's who. And like I say, I found my experience was like a book, that I know your names, I know your voices, and I make up in my mind who you are. What's your character? Who am I talking to? The person I see in my mind has nothing to do with you other than it's generated by your name and your voice and how much we've talked to each other. But people often make up who they think you are. Teachers, I hate to say do this because we have so many students, you're just trying to make things work. The poor teacher who wrote out that letter, I guess, particularly this year, it's been hard to find out, to be able to talk to students. That if a student in theory is Filipino, I would think they speak Spanish, but technically Philippines isn't Brazilian. No, it's Brazil. It's Portuguese. That's always a crazy one. Anyway, I just wanted to raise, the other issue that when you're hearing these stories from the Pacific Islanders, I have heard this from my Black friends too. I went to some very privileged schools. I know some of my Black friends there felt that it was very difficult for them, that they would be blamed for being too white, in their community, or that they didn't talk properly to their friends at home because they were talking in a stilted way. These are issues that cut across our communities. What's it like to come from a mixed family? You have a Black father and a white mother. How do you relate to the two communities? These are very common situations. Let's hear a little more and we'll wind up.
I agree with Alana. I'm sorry, but I agree with Alana because I'm Filipino also, and I look Hispanic. So many people, my classmates, they always refer to me in a Hispanic way, or they will speak to me in Spanish. And I always have to explain to them that I'm Asian, I'm Filipino, and I don't speak Spanish. And I just really want them to understand that there are different, like Alana said, there are different ethnicities that may look like Hispanics, but we're not Hispanic.
Yeah, adding on, people have actually thought I was Hispanic, but I am Indian, and I feel like this has to do with a lot of the lack of representation.
Yeah, I would like to agree with everything everyone said. Alana specifically mentioned that a lot of people don't recognize that there's like such a variety of races and ethnicities. Because in America, like a lot of people think pretty black and white about it, quite literally. And Asian people suffer from this kind of invisibility where a lot of people just don't really acknowledge that we exist. So a lot of people don't understand that. Yeah.
I have to agree with that because even though Vietnamese is a popular culture, and I know this in my school, there was this one person who would go up to every Asian kid and say, "You're from China, you're Chinese." And it was honestly really degrading for us because we're all like, "No, we're not Chinese, we're Cambodian, we're Laos, we're Vietnamese, we're Korean, we're Japanese." And they're like, "No, you're Chinese." And even though we come from popular descents, it's still, everything's either black or white. And it really hurts sometimes.
Thank you. And I think what we're hearing is that when teachers don't see this diversity of who you are and what that means to you, there's an invisibility feeling and not being seen. And that's definitely got an impact. So as we move in to some more, we're actually going to, and I wanted to just go back a little bit. We have artwork and different art pieces by a lot of our students. So in the very first image that you saw, that was actually Ting Ting Lee, who was a 10th grader at BCC, who created that art piece. It was really powerful, and I do thank you, John, for bringing that back up. I think we have to look at it for a moment, the power of her piece, and just hearing what everyone is saying about their experiences, how it all connects.
All right, I'm going to stop there. You can come look at this yourself. Oh, look. What are views on school climate now? Reflect on the theme raised in the student forum. How are they relevant to Blair? More broadly, as we approach the close of 2021 academic school year, leaders would like to gauge how attitudes regarding climate at the school have improved, declined, or stayed the same. Please indicate your thoughts in the anonymous climate exit survey. Should take no more than 10 to 15 minutes. Goodness. All right, here's the link if you want it. So they're interested in seeing how you feel about the climate of the school. Are people accepting? Are people causing problems? That is the link to the survey. If you'd like to do it. All I ever see are the inside of my classroom and the hallways. Well, I'm not really sure. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing for a moment. Shepsa, you're still out there? Do you want to go over one of these things? Shepsu? Oh, not Aiden. They're slowly sneaking away like rats off a sinking ship. Shepsu, you out there? Anybody else have anything that they need to go over, interested in? 2 minutes. You're very kind to stay. 1 minute. Shepsu. I think you've fallen asleep. Ta-da! You survived another innovation period. Okay, team, you are free to go. Shepsu, are you out there? Good job for waiting till the end.
Goodbye.
Thank you, Stephen. You okay? Everything good?
Mhm.
Are you okay? Is everything
Yeah.
good for you?
Yeah.
Good. We just don't get a chance to talk much. Shepsu, you're my sole survivor. Shepsu, you're the one that wanted to do something. Hello. All right, I'm giving up.